The Circuit de Catalunya is really quite a balanced track, but it's seen a bit of an overhaul over the past few years. Last year saw a remodelling of Turn 10 to make it faster, and this year sees the removal of the tight and twisty and really rather annoying chicane that was towards the end of the lap. By removing this slow chicane, the whole track's become faster overall, and this does actually change our setup approach from previous years. Our aerodynamic setup for Spain in F1 23 is still pretty high. This is due to the really technical corners through the start and the middle part of the lap. Set the front wing aero to 36 and the rear to 34. It's important to ensure that you have a really stable car around Spain, so you don't want the rear wing to be too low or too much lower than the front. A lot of pressure is put on the rear of the car while accelerating through the longer corners, including the new fast turn 14. For the transmission setup, I've opted for 50% on throttle diff and 55% off throttle. This will ensure we don't work the rear tyres too hard, as the tyres can really be punished around this track. There are also some key acceleration zones where traction is really important, so this approach addresses that. The suspension geometry is really set up to provide good mechanical grip throughout the wide variety of corners. And the best way of doing this is with your camber set far right and the toe close to far left. Although this year I've increased the rear toe a bit to help maintain stability through some of those faster corners. For the suspension, opt for a stiffer front end to help with direction change, so go with 28 at the front and 7 at the rear, and then go with an anti-roll bar setup of 7 and 2, and your ride height to be relatively balanced at 36 and 40. For the brake setup, you can set your brake pressure a little further rearwards, as there aren't too many really heavy braking zones. Instead, the shorter and sharper braking zones do benefit more from a more neutral brake balance. Go with 100% brake pressure like normal, and a brake bias of 53%. Now, as I mentioned earlier, tyre wear can be an issue around Spain, and one of the better ways to manage it is by lowering the pressures. This will really reduce the temperature build-up and lower the overall tyre wear. It also softens the car a little bit too. Go with 22.5 psi on both front tyres, and then opt for 20.2 and 20.1 on the rear tyre pressures. The lower rear left pressure helps to mitigate wear on the most vulnerable tyre. And that does it for our Spanish car setup in F1 23. This track provides a wide range of tests for your car, from fast to slow corners and high speed stability. The removal of that horrible chicane in the last sector really allows the track to flow much better, and it makes creating a car setup that little bit easier in F1 23. Let me know if you like this car setup and if you like the changes that have been made to this track in F1 23. Also, make sure you're subscribed. I'm releasing F1 23 videos daily, including setups and how-to guides, so if you're subscribed, you'll be one of the first to be notified when I drop a new video. But for now, enjoy this setup and I will see you on track.